I think we might be live. Excellent connection. Thank you, YouTube. That's the kindest thing YouTube's ever said to me. Normally it says bad in all caps and red. This time it says excellent connection. I think we're live. Let me know if you can hear and see everything. And there's always comments in the archive that goes up that are like, yeah, we can hear you, Steve. So this is a live stream. There will be an archive going up later. It'll be unlisted at first, and then we'll make it public once it processes. YouTube takes a little bit to process the quality. Let me know if you can hear and see everything. And while I'm waiting for that feedback in chat, I'm going to tweet out that we are up and running. So we are live. OCing Linus's computer. OK. I guess I should do at Linus Tech. I'm going to check chat in 1 second. Tweet. OK. It's chat saying. Chat saying a lot. Yes, they're saying yes, we can hear you. OK, cool. All right, sounds good. So yeah, I'm going to read all of this. Someone said I forgot I had this tab open. That must have been like, whoa, what was that? Yeah, it's been open for a little bit. We posted this right around when the contest was about to start, and then needed an hour to kind of reset our audio and setup and stuff. So we're back now. But yes, thank you for joining. We are going to be reading all the super chats. I see a couple coming in. I typically do them on about a 30 to 60 minute delay. Just want to let everyone know that now. But we will get through them all. We do tend to push them off for half an hour to an hour. That's because I'm normally working on stuff, trying to put on a show with the overclocking. So that does take some of the attention, obviously. And we just came over from Linus's stream. So if you were not familiar with what they had going on, it was really well done by Linus's team and everyone involved on the production crew. So, I mean, huge props to them for putting it together, pulling it off with everyone remote. Austin joined and Jay joined, along with Linus, of course, and it was a PC troubleshooting challenge. So lots of fun, but basically the way it worked was Linus and Austin were sort of judges or co-hosts, and they were spectating while Jay and I remotely tried to troubleshoot systems that I think, if I understand it correctly, were identical in their flaws. So we did that. I guess, I mean, the ending's probably going to be spoiled by people in chat by now, but I guess I won't say who won. You can watch their video if you want to see who won. It will probably be spoiled in chat, so if you don't want the spoiler, then close chat, I guess. But I have both trophies out here, so I'm not going to say who won because it was a really fun competition, and you'll enjoy watching it. Highly recommended. I actually need to watch it myself. I watched a little bit after we finished, and it looks really well produced. But these are the 2 trophies they sent out. I got to figure out what to do with the one that I didn't receive. We're probably going to do some sort of charity auction with it at some point. I just need to figure out the logistics of it. So keep an eye out for that. We'll announce it in a hardware news video. And then today what we're doing is we're going to overclock the system that Linus sent. I might clean it up a little bit too, because since it was a race, we were trying to see who could get the thing posting benchmark scores first. We had to meet the LTT benchmark scores where they, it's funny to see people saying there's like inverse spoilers now. So actually you shouldn't trust chat because about 50% of the comments are incorrect about who won. I'm not going to say which 50%, so you have to go watch it. But, so you shouldn't trust chat either, apparently. Anyway, yeah, so we had to race to get it assembled and benchmark it, and I just like Jay was too, I sort of scrambled to get it going and left it a mess. So we might clean up a little bit of that, but we'll overclock it too. I have 0 practice on this system. Normally, before a stream, I'll do a couple hours of prep work and try to at least learn about the motherboard, the CPU, and how they behave. I don't even know what BIOS they have on here, so we're going to see how it goes. No Allen 2 for this one. Normally we do liquid nitrogen streams. This one's going to be like a normal overclock. It is a 10700K, and I think it's 3200 megahertz memory. That's more or less the extent of what I checked out while working on the hardware. The system had all kinds of issues with it. I won't go through all of them because I don't want to spoil it, but one of the more interesting ones, I guess, was what was the most interesting one, probably? The most interesting one's a bit of a cliffhanger, so I'll keep that to myself. You'll see it in the video. But one of the more fun ones was that they had the fans flipped. So they were, for the radiator there, they were going opposite directions. But my strategy was to just unbuild it and you kind of see a lot of the problems there. And I only did that because I knew it was sabotaged. If it were like a real customer PC, I'd probably do the other approach. Let's see if it boots still. I don't know if I even have everything plugged in, but we're just going to turn it on and see what happens. I have a light OC on there that I did for the competition. I didn't want to work with, I don't know, I didn't want to, I was basically trying to overclock my way through any potential problems that might have been there. So I threw a quick OC on there. We did like a 5.0, I think, was the final number, and kind of ran with that. I need to grab hardware info. I don't think they pre-installed it. This was all set up by Linus's team. So we're just going to grab hardware info really quick, and that'll set us up for the overclocking today. Again, huge thanks to Jay and Linus and Austin. It was a lot of fun to do the troubleshooting challenge. If you loosen this, it will work. A lot of fun to do, and Linus did a prize pool. So he did $3,000 to a charity for the winner, and then he did a $1,000 for the winner. And this is kind of hard to like talk about this stuff without spoiling it. The winner gave that money away to the charity as well, and then we've got an extra thing going on. You'll see it in the bottom left of the stream, where Eden Reforestation Projects is a group that we have worked with in the past. They do really good work with reforesting areas. Obviously, they acquire or get access to land, replant the trees, employ people who are in extreme poverty to do the planting and to maintain the forest that they plant. So anyway, we're giving 10% of the total store revenue, gross revenue from the store, 10% of it, through August 20th to them. And then if you would prefer to donate directly, that is completely fine with me, because my goal is to support their work. So if you want to donate directly, go for it. We're going to do a $1,500 match donation as well, just for whatever our viewers do. Actually, I need to put their link in the description now that I think about it. So we got the system booted, and I'm going to check the super chats in a second here. Give me a second to figure out how to use the YouTube interface to, oh, there it is, update the stream. Eden Reforestation Projects. I'm just going to put their link in there if you want it to go directly. But if you want to support through the store, then obviously that's a great way to do it too. Find them here. Okay. Save. All right. Hopefully that doesn't break the stream. Okay. Someone says Intel won. I mean, 50,000 viewers. Yeah, they had crazy viewership. Like, job well done, Linus. Congrats on that. I think they were at 65 concurrent peak. That might have counted Twitch and stuff too. I'm not sure, but crazy. Okay, so yeah, I see the super chats. Definitely appreciate it. Give me a second to get to those. I want to look at some basics to get the show going. I'm actually going to change this background too, so that it's a little bit easier to see things. Can we just do, okay, all right, thanks. In not activated windows. Where's the fill bucket, Andrew? Oh, there it is. Background. Do you see the high-tech way we work around the Windows registration limitations? There we go. Now we can see stuff. Okay, so I'm going to set the resolution a bit lower as well. It is 1440. We're just going to go down to 1080 so that it's easier to show it. Do we need to get this off the pole? Okay, it's not in your way. If it is, feel free to remove it. So anyway, here's hardware info. One thing I didn't check in the troubleshooting stream was what were the Windows power settings, and it looks like they're not actually set to high performance. No, but that ended up not mattering, so that's okay. But I'm going to set it to high performance. What that's going to do is stop screwing with the clock so much, so now you can see that it's reading 5,000 across the board. This was the 5-second OC. I mean, if you ever have thought that you have to spend hours doing an OC, that stream was proof that you really don't. It's just not going to be efficient. Like, I typed in just some random vCore and let it go. I think it did 1.38 LLC level 4, and we're going to tune that now. Let's see. Was the chassis an InWin 303? No, I think this is called the 805. I made some choice comments about what I think about this case in the stream. Mainly where does the air come from? And the answer is nobody knows. Let me get, I'm just gonna get the panel off so we can work on this. How did you provide a video feed to LinusTechTips? I'd like to know. It was so interesting. I've never done a stream like that before. So I mean, they can talk about it if they want to talk about their methods, but the short of it is that I had a really crazy setup because I had a piece in my ear so I could hear them on Discord chat, which is connected to my phone, and then the laptop was on the table. My laptop was on the table actually just for the mic. So it was just receiving my audio when I talked to Linus, but then they were taking my audio from the lab for the actual stream. So that's the workaround I had to do to make it work, and it was insane. Not a good way to do it, but it worked, so. Okay, so let me check some of the super chats, and then we'll get going here. Viewer activity. Tom Kavulik, good to see you back. I have definitely seen your name in here a few times now, so always happy to see regulars. We recognize the names. $50, wow, thank you. Says Steve number 1. Sir myself sent Canadian 666, always an admirable donation. Pleasing the, oh, actually, it says Iron Maiden right there. I was about to say, pleasing Bruce Dickinson with that. Congrats on the win, Steve. Uh-oh, well, there you go. That was the super chat. That spoils it, I guess. Sorry, at least, whatever. Iron Maiden trivia quiz number 2 to get times 10 again. Oh, man. How did Bruce Dickinson intro Rime of the Ancient Mariner in 1984? I haven't listened to that song in like a decade. I'm completely blank on it. Sorry. I'm normally pretty good with them, but I was mostly listening to like sort of Fear of the Dark type era, and Rime of the Ancient Mariner I haven't heard in so long. Snack Juice, Canadian $5, thank you. Now that it's August, can you get Roman to send my wife that 011 Mini? I don't know that any person has the power to get Roman to ship anything. Speaking of which, this stream is brought to you by Thermal Grizzly. It's somewhere around here. They're linked in the description below. Fortunately, Roman is not the shipping person for Thermal Grizzly, but this is what we used in the stream, actually. I did kind of a funny clip in Linus's tech support challenge. Linus came in and was like telling jokes about my thermal paste application, and then when we did a second application later, I just dumped like the whole tube on the system. So that's what's in there now, and it seems to be running. I'll get back to super chats in a second. Right now we have, let me get these out of the way. We have XMP applied, and let's see. All I did was XMP, I typed in 50 for all core. If you didn't catch it in the stream, how's the shot of the monitor? No glare? Oh, not too bad, I guess.
I think it's that bad.
Okay. What if we do that?
That's good.
All right. So if you missed it, what I did was just some basic Digit Plus VRM stuff. So this is an ASUS subsection of Extreme Tweaker. We're not doing extreme overclocking today, so this is stuff you could do at home. I'm not saying this is a guide, but you know, if you want some basics of where to look, this will give you some pointers. So I set the current capability to 140%, so we weren't going to be current limited, and we ignored the VRM switching frequency. You can tune this. Sometimes it helps, but I don't have a lot of experience with it. BuildZoid and Hardware Numbers really know that stuff well. VRM spread spectrum we disabled. Let's see, I set CPU power thermal control to 145 for VRM, but that just was totally irrelevant, didn't matter. The reason I did this, if anyone was wondering, one of the things I suspected that Linus's team might have done, but they actually didn't, was I was suspecting that maybe they didn't put the VRM heatsink back on properly as like a sabotage, but so what I did was I just blasted the amount of, the temperature limit for the MOSFETs, because the benchmarks are short, so I knew it wouldn't matter. But anyway, that's why I set that, but ends up not being important. And then the rest of this I left alone for the stream. Let's see. Oh, I did a cache ratio, which actually does help a lot. This helped in the Heaven score. So 47 I set. We've gotten up to like 50 on some CPUs, but I've never pre-tested this one. We did 138 for vCore with an LLC of 4 because vDroop helps a bit. 1.4 for the memory just to make sure I didn't have any weird issues. And that was pretty much it. So let's go ahead and run this as a baseline. I've got the fan set to max speed right now. The case has its panels off, but it is still pretty restricted on airflow, so there's not a great solution working with the case. But okay. I need to catch up on some of the chats and stuff. Let's see, what was I working on? Oh yeah, that's right. We did some other interesting tricks too in the stream. You'll see me put tape on the CPU, the back of the socket. So I threw that on there to hold the back plate in place, because I knew my strategy was gonna be to unbuild the system and redo it. So that actually helped a lot, because if it's not like an HEDT platform, it takes me forever to get the back plate oriented. Okay, so let's, Heaven took forever to run last time. I'm probably gonna try and avoid that for the most part. Let's just run an R20, because I don't actually know where our score was. And one thing I didn't do during the stream, because I didn't care, because it didn't matter for the competition, was I didn't check the temperatures. So I'd be really curious to see how close to the edge I was pushing it or not. So this run is not going to have a valid score because I'm running hardware info, but it will give us some temperature numbers we can work from. If you're watching this, you don't really do much overclocking, so this is a good stream to watch, because you'll see some of the basics without doing liquid nitrogen stuff that we often do. So if you want to OC your own CPU, we have a whole like hour-long thing on Ryzen, but the basics aren't too different. What I typically do is I start by doing some research on where do I expect the CPU to really fall. So like with Intel, with modern Intel, we know that they typically max out between 5.0 and 5.3. And we're going to try for 5.3 today. I might try for 5.4, but with this cooler, I don't know if that's happening in this case too. So I'll try a number that seems to be about the average online, or maybe 100 megahertz below that. And then I'll set just a 1.4 vCore for both, for Intel and AMD. And that's on the high side, but my goal is to figure out where's the frequency, where does it stop being stable at that voltage, and then I start bringing it down the voltage slowly. And then once it's no longer stable, we've found our sort of combination of volt frequency limits, and then you just adjust. Do you want lower voltage and bring down the frequency, or do you want to push it a little more and run hotter? So anyway, let's see if this is important. No, it is not. Okay, so 5196 for baseline. I think I saw someone say hyperthreading was disabled, but I actually never noticed because I cleared CMOS. So we're good here. This is a 10700K, and I think what I'm going to do, so Linus has given this system away that we're working on right now to a winner, and where's the spare parts? So he's given it away to a winner. We actually have an extra CPU as well that he sent for the troubleshooting challenge, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I'll check. And so before anyone's like concerned about this being overclocked, one, it's not going to shorten the lifespan because we're not running it under LN2. But two, if anyone's worried about that, I'll probably just put the spare in that they sent because it won't have been used on the stream at all, as long as it works. Okay, so 5196, let's run this again without any background tasks blowing it up. But temperatures, you should never look at max temperature as a column for what's the temperature of your CPU. If you're doing like a benchmark, like you're testing a cooler, you should log things and measure it more accurately. But for purposes of what we're doing right now, this is fine. So we actually peaked. We're under 80 for the most part, and the core-to-core deltas here are pretty low. One of the things you want to look for with overclocking is what's your peak core-to-core delta, and I'm seeing about a 10-degree max. So our coolest core is 10 degrees cooler than our hottest core, and what this tells us is the hottest core is going to be the one that, actually these two here, these will be the ones that dictate our maximum clock because, well, thermally anyway, if we're allowing a TJ max. Thermally, those will be our limiters. And so ways you can fix this, typically you don't have many. D-lid is one of them, but this is soldered. We're certainly not going to do that on this for someone who's winning the system. It becomes maintenance. But you could D-lid and do liquid metal, and that would help. And sponsor of the stream sells that too, linked in the description below. But more commonly, just try your best to work around it, unfortunately. Or you could lap the die too. That's another really good solution. So yeah, that looks fine. We're good there. I'm going to check these as well. I'm going to go through some basics today because we have a good amount of viewers who haven't, I don't think, tuned into our OC streams before, so maybe this will help you if you want to overclock your own system. These are good numbers to look at in hardware info. Hardware info 64 is free. It's extremely good. So this is just yes, no. It's a binary of are you hitting limits, and we're not. This is another yes, no, are you hitting limits? So what we're going to look for is yeses, and we see one right there, which is IA max turbo limit. But this doesn't matter because we've manually overridden that, so it actually is irrelevant. But yeah, that's a really good tool for figuring out if you need to go into BIOS and disable certain power limits and things like that. Let me get back to chat. What's chat saying? Linus is in here. Linus says, we have fun days every day. He's replying to someone. Linus, say anything else? I see Bearded Hardware also. Good to see Bearded Hardware. We're going to do some of the super chats in a second. I'm just checking on the normal chat. Oh, Linus tagged me. He said, fun fact, Nicholas from our team had to redo almost everything because we were too savage with the things we did to the systems. Linus, if you're still in chat, I would love to know some examples, assuming you're not saving them for later, of what were the things that you guys thought were just like too far, like we've gone too far. Because I think I'd love to think about if I would have been able to solve it. A couple things I was expecting. I was really expecting them to screw with the BIOS on something. So either VBIOS or the video card. I was kind of expecting like you could load a bad BIOS that locks it to a lower frequency, and that would have been really tricky. I'm not sure I would have caught that in reality. Or like motherboard, you could screw with the BIOS, but they didn't do either of those. They did have really tricky stuff in there though, and I'm not gonna spoil those since I already accidentally read someone's super chat and spoiled the winner. So, what are the specs of the PC? You should honestly ask Linus in the chat. They built it. 10700K. That's a Maximus 12 Hero. This Gigabyte cooler I haven't reviewed, but it's actually running really well. I don't know if it's comparatively good, but just, I mean, we have benchmarks for that. We haven't run this one, but that's the cooler. Power supply is a Seasonic 1000 watt, I think. And they have some, I think they have a Sabrent M.2 in there, and they have a Corsair Force 2.5. I'm not sure on the rest, but that's what I can see from here. Looks like 3200 G-Skill. One thing I will say is I really wanted to flip this, because you should absolutely have your tubes oriented down for noise reasons. But, you know, for a competition, I was like, well, it's already on there. I don't have time to flip it, so we just went with that. Okay, I haven't seen a response from Linus, so I don't know if he left the chat or if he hasn't heard me. But let me take a couple of super chats, and then we'll get over to this. It's at 5.0 right now. Very quick OC. We'll do better, though. Let's see. Bazinga X, you once again proved that you are the true tech Jesus. I'm not sure that there was like, that kind of implies that there's multiple people called that. So I don't know who the others would be, but I'd very much appreciate it if they'd stop infringing on our naming that the community has provided. Lamette Productions. That was more fun than I've had in a live stream. What a great stream. Yes, Linus's team, like I said, insanely good production quality on that stream. It's really impressive. Okay. All right, let's do some stuff. So 5250 points is where we were for Cinebench R15 without anything running in the background. We have a lot of thermal headroom to work with. We've got about 20 degrees to work with right now. So first thing I'm going to do is increase the clocks without increasing the voltage. We'll leave it 1.38. And then I will, if I need to, if we get a blue screen, I'll increase the voltage from there. And while this is booting, I'll shout out the store. So like I said, we are doing a share of our store revenue, gross revenue, 10% of the store revenue through August 20th to Eden Reforestation projects. If you'd like to buy something from the store, which you should, because if you want a mod mat or a mouse mat, we're going to be very low on inventory soon, then we'll give 10% of the revenue from those to Eden Reforestation projects. We've worked with them in an official capacity before. They were great to work with. And if you want to give to them directly too, I've posted a link below, and we'll do up to $1,500 match with the community. Okay, so let's leave all this alone. And I'm going to leave, I want to come back to cache ratio. It actually matters a lot, not as much for Cinebench as other things, but it does matter. Let's just do a 51. And this is the one that blue screened in the stream, and it caused a lot of suspense for a second. Yeah, so the mouse mats right here, the mouse mats we have actually sold through about half of the supply that's coming in, and we ordered a lot. Like it's the biggest order I've ever done. We've already sold through half. So these are on back order. They sold out in 2 days when we originally listed it. It is a $30 MSRP wireframe mouse mat, so it's got PC component designs. We have the heatsink SSD with all the flash on it, motherboard with memory, video card with VRM, full VRM and all that stuff. You can download more RAM. So it's a wide desk mat. It's on store.gamersnexus.net. And if you back order it, they are shipping end of August, along with the large mod mats, which I'm working on underneath this. This one's a very well-used mod mat. It's done its job well of working as a build service. But mod mats are actually in much lower supply. I thought we were ahead of it, and we were not. So if you do want a mod mat, or we haven't been able to keep the mod mats in stock for more than like a week ever in history. So maybe once, maybe like when we first launched. Actually, I don't think maybe then, but yeah, you can grab one on the store. Those are shipping also end of August. That's when they arrive. But if you back order it, then you're guaranteed to get it. Okay, let's run it. So 51, we're just gonna see if it blue screens. I'm expecting maybe, because it did in the stream with Linus. And what we're doing is a 1.38. Oh, okay. I will avoid standing behind the computer. I'm being told that wind is blowing into the mic. Actually, I can probably just cut that fan. Let's just kill the fan, because it's open air right now anyway. So all this is just going to come out here. Okay. What is a safe vCore for a 10600K 24/7? So, this question I always struggle to answer, because there's not really just like a fixed, there you go, crashed, so it's not stable. Not really just a fixed answer. I'm gonna do R15 and see if that works before we reboot and up the voltage. So I'm pretty comfortable in like the 1.3s, like 1.3 to 1.4 range is where I feel pretty comfortable for a 24/7. I'm not saying that's like guaranteed, but it's 14 nanometer. Intel's process, this 14 nanometer silicon's been out so long now, there's a ton of data on it. You're pretty good at like 1.4 even. So for me, personally speaking, 1.3 to 1.4, I'm fine at 1.4, it doesn't really bother me. I'm not worried about degradation of the CPU at that voltage, but I'm not guaranteeing it will happen. That said, the data does sort of support that, that's fine. Just be careful of your LLC. You don't want to run it hard, because then you're going to be over that number. So 2204, R15 did pass, but R20 is not stable. It is a longer benchmark, and that's going to cause problems for us. So I need to up the voltage a bit to make it through R20. Okay. Let's see what, oh yeah, thanks. Someone asked the GPU. It is a 2070 Super, I think is what they sent us. So I'll do that too. We might as well overclock the GPU. We haven't done that in a while. It's pretty fun. It's been a long time since I've done a GPU OC on stream. So we want to do 51. So we'll get to that too. Let's start with the CPU and just find where we start hitting our max temperature, where we can't push any further. Linus is so big now, he's actually outsourcing he's outsourcing actual work to smaller YouTubers. Hey man, Linus told me when I went to LTX the first time, he said something about, we were just talking like off-site, and he said something about, we're in a spot now where I really want to leverage our ability to bring people together. And I thought that made a lot of sense, because like the show's it's a lot of pressure he and the team's under to put on something like LTX. And they do a great job. So yeah, absolutely, he's outsourcing some of the actual work to smaller YouTubers, and you know what? He's doing a good job. Okay, let's see if it survives. I don't know what this loading thing is. That was popping up so this popped up in Linus's stream, and I immediately thought they loaded fake malware on it and started looking for it. Only thing I found that was malware was the ASUS utility. I should caveat that was a joke that's known as humor before ASUS sends a cease and desist or something. But I think it might be RGB software. I think it's that Oris stuff. Let's see if it survives this time. Looking forward to the GPU OC. Those are always so much fun. Do you have an in-depth article about the basics of overclocking, more specifically what voltage settings or other settings? So the best thing I can recommend that we've done recently is go to our YouTube channel, and it should be within the first couple scrolls. You'll find a video, a live stream archive we did. It's probably about 2 hours, 2.5, but half of that was super chats, so I'm gonna get to these in a minute too. So it's not as long as it looks for the overclocking segment for the how-to guide. And that we go through like every setting that you'll need for basics on Ryzen. And a lot of that applies to Intel. It's not quite the same names, but it's the same principles. A lot of the settings are actually the same as well, so that's what I'd recommend. Okay, let me do some of the super chats for a second. Doggy's Tube, $5. Can you add coolant to Arctic Liquid Freezer 2? Yes, you can add coolant to it. I don't have one within reach right now, but I mean, like, you'd have to disassemble it. So that's not like the most fun thing to do, but it's not that difficult. So yeah, you could add coolant if it is like low for some reason. Bazinga X, $5, says Bitwit won. That's it. Bazinga X has given away the end of the competition. Linus's PC troubleshooting competition, where Jay and I battled each other to try and fix this computer. It was actually won by Bitwit. Mustangs by Matt, $20. Thank you. Good to see you back, Matt. The troubleshooting challenge was a lot of fun. I did the 16 terabyte hard drive tests, he says in quotes, and it didn't end well for Seagate. Sending you a package with the drives and a couple of gifts. Send an email. Yes, so the Mustangs by Matt shoots hard drives with weapons, and it's like data destruction. I think he did it for clients at one point. It definitely destroys the data, so there's no coming back from that for the hard drive. We actually have a few of the ones he's shot in the back of the set. We're still not sure if it was a threat or if it was just a cool prop, but it's cool back there. Okay, so 5346 is our score at 51. That is an improvement of, I think it was about 100 points. I should be typing some of these down, but let's write that down. So I think we're at like 50. Someone can tell me in chat. It was like 5250 or 5215 originally at 5.0. And then we're at 5346, 5.1. I strongly recommend writing down the settings you use for each pass as you test it, because later when stuff starts breaking, you're going to want to go like, okay, where was it working? And then you reset back to those. So I would write down the voltage, LLC, all that stuff, and then whenever you change it, make a note in like a spreadsheet or something. So yeah, that's pretty good. Happy with that. I really want to get the CPU to the max. I don't have ASUS Turbo V Core on here, so we're going to have to go through BIOS for the overclocking. And this is, if you're just tuning in, this is exactly how Linus sent the system to us. We're just overclocking it now. So we maybe get a shot in the computer here. Let's see if that's bright enough, hopefully. One sec, let me try and get this to stay. I'll just hold it. So yeah, this is the machine they sent us. We had to do a troubleshooting challenge, and I'm not going to go through all the individual things that we fixed, but needless to say, Linus's team put up a really strong fight. They really screwed with this thing, and lots of cool stuff to fix. But end of the day, we got it running. This Gigabyte cooler is doing better than I thought it would for the overclocks, and I threw a quick OC on the stream just to brute force my way past issues. And now we're going to expand that. So I'm trying 52 for the multiplier now. Let's get this out of the way and see if it'll run at 52. Feel free to move the light if you need to. Let me read a couple of super chats. And I need to check the normal chat too. Big Al 268. Good to see you back. Big Al sent $50. Says something for the winner, and then says Cat Angels. Yeah, it's so hard to like avoid spoiling things, but that part's already been spoiled in the stream. I'm just trying not to like repeatedly do so since people join and leave. But yes, they should be very happy. And thank you, Big Al. Jackson Tint, $5. Did I see an LTT store water bottle in the background at merch collab with Linus when? You have the two best merch stores of the PC tech community. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We work really hard on it. The mod mats and the mouse mats are probably my top two things we've made. The mod mat, I think I hold the mod mat the closest because it was the first real, like, fully unique product we did. But yes, you do. At the end of Linus's stream, I decided to give him a shout out too. I filled his water bottle with, I think this is their new like 40 or whatever. I filled it with, you're gonna see Linus walking around with like a brown paper bag over this in downtown Vancouver. I filled it with liquid nitrogen and I poured that into one of the trophies. And then I immediately dumped it out of the trophy because I was worried that the plastic would explode. So you'll see that in their stream at the end of it. All right, let's do R20 run again. So we're trying 52 for the multiplier. We're just gonna push as high as we can until we hit a thermal limit. It's really nice to work with and like quote unquote actual computer for once instead of LN2, because I've got hard limits where I'm not gonna be able to get past what the cooler can do. So once we find that, we'll get to do the GPU again. I'm really looking forward to that because it's been like probably over a year since I've overclocked the GPU on stream. And we're not gonna be able to go too crazy, but we'll do a bit. Get some more super chats. Wishbone, good to see you back. Oh, yep, okay, there it is. That's the comment I was expecting. Wishbone says, Linus didn't make you guys test run Beetle Adventure Racing on LN2. Shame on you, Linus. Yes, Wishbone for several years now has been requesting that we test Beetle Adventure Racing. And at some point I should probably do it just for Wishbone's sake. For the longest time, I thought it was probably like a meme game about Beetle's the Bug, and then I realized it was a Volkswagen game, I think on N64. So that's we definitely, like those of you who are regulars in the chat, definitely recognize the messages. We've seen them a lot, some of these. I appreciate the ongoing persistence from Wishbone. Patrice X, I think, is how this is pronounced. $5, greeting from Brazil, and congrats for the win. It was a lot of fun. Well, we spoiled that again, but yes, I've decided to stop trying to prevent saying that, I guess, and just not give away all of the challenges. So that's the thing I've reverted to, not spoiling was all the challenges. But yeah, thanks again. It was a really fun stream. Very clever idea and good way for them to try and make do with the situation since they had to cancel LTX, obviously due to international travel issues. So looking forward to seeing what they do next. Martin Parker, $10. Hey, did you see the video where SK Hynix tried to pay level 1 techs for an SSD review? Wendell was not impressed. I did not, but anyone trying to pay Wendell for a review, I think, is in for quite a surprise, because Wendell's got about the same like requirements and standards we do, and he's also like next level technical on a lot of the stuff that they're probably asking for. So definitely they were in for a surprise. I'll go watch it though. I didn't see it, but that sounds fun. Okay, let's try a 1.42 for vCore, and then what I'm going to do is check hardware info this time and see if it's crashing from thermals or from stability. What's the name of the case? It is an Inwin, I think, 805, and I would not recommend this case. It is one of the worst designed I've seen for thermals in a long time. Actually, that's not true. We've reviewed a lot of bad cases. It's up there in the top like 5 of worst thermal design. But that said, like, it's pretty, and they did some cool stuff with the lights. I think I disconnected them, but there's a bunch of lights in here that are actually super cool. I just wish they would get rid of this glass panel. It'd be really cool without the glass panel, and it would probably, if they punched out better holes, cool reasonably well, while also still having the look they want. I keep feeling kind of bad for whoever's going to win this computer because I'm like trashing the case, but also they're going to win like a very expensive computer, so I don't feel that bad. Because it's still objectively good. So, okay. So this time we're going to run it again. If it crashes, we're going to start to find out now V-core or thermals. What do you need, Andrew? Okay. Just checking for where the robots are. Just let chat try to figure that one out. Okay, so we're going to need some more V-core, I think. So this setup, if you're doing overclocking stuff and you're planning to really work on it, try and crank some numbers, I'd recommend doing it on a test bench. I had it on one during the stream. Oops, I don't need that. I had it on this thing during the stream, and it just helps you kind of get good access to everything, like all the buttons on the board. So I've got the panel open, that way I can just hit the start reset button. Okay, so let's go for V-core. Bit higher still. Let's just punch in like 1.4 and give that a go. So we're stable 5.1, we'll see 5.2. I don't think this will matter, but we can see the chat in the reflection of the case occasionally, and Andrew's reflection. Hi, Andrew, they said. Andrew says, yeah. I don't know, should I rotate it? I guess it doesn't really matter for any particular reason, but that's probably more interesting to look at anyway. Until I need to hit power buttons. Where is it? Is this it? I think I can reach the power button from here. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Let's see, what else are people saying? Martin Parker, $10. Oh, I got that one, sorry. Jean-Paul Pittman, $10, thank you. Cats are the real winners today. Thank you, Steve, and meow meow. The Ozum, $5. Hi, Steve. Hi. Hope I said your name somewhat accurately. Kristen Langer, 125 PHP. Hey, Steve, check out Jay's latest tweet. Request to roast that case in 10 words or less. / JayzTwoCents. What is it? Hey, Gamers Nexus, look what you made me do. It's a video. I can't like listen to it right now. What is it? I'll watch it. It's a 45-second clip from Jay. I don't have audio on this computer, but I will watch it. He did, yeah, Jay also donated in that stream, and then we gave the prize money, and then Linus gave money, so I think that's what he's talking about in there, but I'm not sure. I have to watch his video. Definitely a huge shout out to Jay, though. Was there a question in that super chat? Oh, request to roast the case in 10 words or less, or fewer. 10 words. I feel like I'm writing a haiku. Was it 575? 10 words. Terrible airflow. Bulging glass. It's not enough cable management room, in other words. Plasticky appendages we're going to go with for the feet on the case. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to leave myself the 4 extra words. I think I've done a good job. That's how we review cases going forward. It's going to be the GN intro and ad, and then 10 words, and then it'll be the outro. Okay, so I need to run hardware info. We don't know if it's a voltage thing or temperature yet, but if I get this open and look at temperature while it runs, I will know immediately. So let's see. Temperature is okay, so if it crashes, then it's a stability thing, which is going to be LLC and voltage. So we're going to work on that. Oops, there's a screwdriver. Let's restart the system and up the voltage a bit more. I had a secret weapon belt at the on the metal table leg, I have a big magnet hooked up with like screwdrivers and stuff. I ended up not needing it during the stream because I also had all that stuff on the table. But I knew one of my biggest weaknesses with building a computer is just like putting stuff down all over the place and not keeping track. So I made sure I had a second set of everything on a magnet under the table so I could just grab it if I lost a screwdriver. Okay, so we're good at a 47 cache and 51 all core. Let's try 1.45. Leave the memory alone, that's fine. Do I have notes on what I should set this to? IO, yeah, okay. So we can maybe try that a little bit. But it's difficult for me to judge some of this stuff because we are not doing liquid nitrogen. Rear fan is not needed, yeah. The case is complete, both panels are off, so the air's gonna find its way out of the case. I'm not worried about it. It'll help a little bit with the VRM temperature, but this VRM, with the heatsink it has, it's completely fine. Okay. Evocati Productions, $2. Damn, I missed the original stream. What happened? I'm not gonna give it all away. Check out Linus's channel for it. It was really fun. It's worth watching. Let's see if it crashes again. One of the twists they threw in there was we had to download Cinebench during the stream, which was actually really stressful for a second. Okay, giving that away because it's not that exciting, but is this RGB software? What is this? Get out of here. So yeah, we had to download Cinebench during the stream, and I just switched ISPs and got that all set up within the last couple days. And we've had some wireless issues, so I was having trouble figuring out if it was because of stuff he had done to the computer or because of other issues we had in the office that would not be resolvable during the stream. So that was kind of a, I don't think they cut to my audio then. I don't think I really talked about it, but you can see me kind of, like we zoomed in on how long it was taking to download and stuff like that, because it was bad for a second. Like the slowest Cinebench download possible. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point, I think, is maybe just run it 5.1. I might push the voltage one last time. Since we are on LLC4, it's not actually running 145 under load. So we'll up it one last time. Is it possible to USB boot a Pentium 2? I forget the use case I had for this, but I still want to do it. I have no idea. I don't know that I ever built a Pentium 2 system. I built a Pentium 4 system. Let's do like 145, but just increase the LLC. Let's just try that. Make it kind of lazy mode. You could have just checked all the basic 8 components and connections. There was a lot more than that they did. That's what made it fun. Okay. Let's see. Mustangs by Matt. Steve finally got busted on his Iron Maiden knowledge. He actually doesn't own any metal music and exclusively listens to Backstreet Boys. Yeah, you got it. That's it. No one's ever known. That's definitely what it is. All those streams talking about where people ask about music and talking about like Trivium and Parkway Drive. No, none of that. I actually just made those names up and assumed they were probably metal bands because, I mean, look at the names they choose. So I figured that was a good chance of that. Okay. We're looking for does it run, and if it doesn't, I'll probably give up on the 52X. Thank you, RGB software. And then go for GPU. It's looking better every time, though. It is holding longer. So it might have just been an LLC and V core. Nope. Okay. Almost. All right. So let's go with that then. Let's do a. I don't want to blast the voltage too much with just a liquid cooler, so we're gonna switch and do some GPU OC for a bit, and then maybe try the CPU again. But 51X is decent. I'd like it to be at 53. Our 10900Ks could run 53, 52 all core. So 51, that's all right. It's pretty close to what we were doing on the 109 anyway. I think our 10700K might be a little bit better than this one, but okay. So actually, there's one more thing we could do. I think I had this, wasn't it at like 140 or something? But I think we can kind of set these back down a little bit now that we're dropping. Let me just make sure this is, no, don't want that. Let me make sure this is stable. And if it's not, I'll increase vCore a tiny bit, but we should be good now at this 51x setting. Then I'm going to increase the cache ratio. I've currently set it to 47, but I'm going to try for 48. I feel like that should be good. I might punch in 50 and see if it runs, but I kind of doubt it. But that'd be a really nice goal. Bardcore Medieval is where it's at. Yes, no, forget metalcore, forget grindcore. It's all about bardcore. Okay, Cinebench R20. Let's see if it survives. So 51x all core, which is around what I was doing in the stream with Linus, but it's a bit higher than the final numbers I did. I'm getting through the super chats. We are only 30 minutes behind them for once, which is nice. Actually, we had a lot of store orders come in too. I'll shout out a couple of those. Thank you for picking it up. One of the best ways to support us, as always, is the store. So store.gamersnexus.net if you want to pick up one of the wireframe mouse mats or the large mod mats, which we have been unable to keep in stock ever since we started making them 3 years ago. It's an anti-static PC building surface, protects the PC and the system you're building on, has some cool diagrams on it. On the right side, it's actually got a bunch of wiring diagrams for the power cables if you ever need to jump headers, stuff like that. This one's a mess because I've been using it for a couple of years now, but it's holding up extremely well. So you can grab that on the store. We don't have that many left for the order coming in. And if you order on back order, you're guaranteed to get one. It will go out to you end of August. We're receiving the shipment along with the wireframe mouse mats. All of those will go out around the same time. And our shipping guy is going to kill me. So 5287, it did survive. That's good. Let's get Precision open and do some cool stuff with the GPU. I don't know if you still have to do this. For a little while, you had to run Precision with in administrator mode. That's right, it wants to update the firmware. It wants to update the LED firmware. Like, of all the things to risk the system for, that is not one of them. There's an unlock off. So you used to have to run this in administrator mode to get it to actually apply, and it would act like it did, but then it didn't. We don't have GPU-Z on here, I don't think, so let's go ahead and grab that application. Thank you, Microsoft Edge, for filling the screen with crap I don't want to see when I open it. GPU-Z. All right, let's grab that. So this is the system that Linus's team set up. They actually did put a lot of good stuff on there that we could use for this. There's a couple more things I want, though. Sure, let's just next. Run. And okay, so this software, again, if you're new here or you haven't seen one of these streams in a while, how's your angle on that, Andrew? Is that okay? This software shows you clocks for the GPU. I mostly use it to kind of gauge if it's doing what I think it is, because the GPUs will lie to you sometimes. The GPU overclocking, so CPU, typically if it's invalid, you're gonna know. Like it'll crash like ours was doing earlier. GPU, you might not know if it's invalid. The best example is memory. So if you overclock the memory and, I don't know, say you type in like 1200 offset, it might actually complete stuff, but the score could be worse than if you did an 800 offset. And that comes down to the, just the stability on the memory. If it's at a clock that's actually doable for it. I'm trying to check, is this, am I getting tagged somewhere? Oh, okay. So let's do, I actually ran this 400 for the stream, and then I did like 100 for the GPU clock. So let's just do those settings again. I did that for Blender with, I think they were enabling CUDA for that run, but let's just run Heaven. We're not going to do the full bench. Well, I don't know. It's kind of, we shouldn't because it takes forever. But they don't really have better GPU benching software on here pre-installed. So we might run it partially and just see where it's stable and isn't. Actually, you're not gonna be able to read it, but we have a really tiny readout in the top right for the settings. Let me do one pass. I don't really think those numbers are accurate, but we can get precision OSD up. Let me do one pass. Precision's open in the background, so it's gonna hurt the score a little bit, but not too bad. It's been so long since I've used this. Actually, can we maybe just bench like one scene? Literally years since I've looked at this software. I was so confused when we ran it during the stream. I wasn't really sure if it was running or not because it's been so long. If you're looking for bench software for like overclocking your GPU and validating it, I wouldn't recommend this anymore. I'd recommend probably like 3D Mark or something for quick validation instead. I don't remember how to override the bench scenes it runs. Maybe we can do, I feel like basic's just gonna change, yeah. Let's also do DX11. Let's just do extreme. Okay, cool, good. It's gonna be a lower resolution too, which it's helpful anyway. So we'll get GPU-Z open. Just look at how the GPU is doing thermally while I run this. So we can do a quick gauge. I'm gonna let it just run and cycle, and we'll just change the clocks as we go. We'll let it run for a little bit here to warm up and take a bit of a beating. What's our load? 98%, okay, so Heaven's still producing enough load to do a GPU benchmark, that's good. What's chat saying? I'm looking at the normal chat here. See what everyone's saying. F9 to start the bench test, thanks. Yeah, superposition's good too. So someone was talking about the temperature here is lower than their idle temperatures. Keep in mind the case is completely open, and I have all fans to 100% right now, including the GPU fan. Also, it's a really fat cooler. Okay, just checking on. Oh, someone says, I just downloaded GPU-Z. It seems to work great. Yes, I highly recommend, if you're watching this, you're like, maybe I can learn some cool stuff to play around with my computer. And even if you're not tweaking it, you just want to learn about performance. GPU-Z and Hardware Info 64 are the two I've shown, and they're pretty much all you need for temperatures. You have to be a little careful. So like these power numbers, depending on which generation of GPU it is, if it's AMD, if it's NVIDIA, these aren't really, you can't like compare these numbers to a lot of other power numbers out there, and sometimes they're very inaccurate. It just depends on the things I already listed. So be careful with what information you take away. I wouldn't trust any software as just inherently accurate. You should always be skeptical of it, but a lot of the time, basic stuff like clocks, temperatures, those tend to hook into sensors and tend to be accurately reported, RPM as well. Memory utilization is a tricky one because like it'll say one number, but that's actually just what's requested, not necessarily what's getting addressed and actively used. So just be careful of what you take away as hard truth from software, but basics work really well. Okay, so we're at 2085 there, and it's been running. I'm gonna let it go a little longer to cook a bit, and then we'll increase the clocks. Robert Mitchell, 999. Must say Jay was very generous to match the winning bounty on the live stream. It was a great watch, even with the Linus drop tips hints. Yes, again, a huge shout out to Jay for that. Jay and I have done a couple of charity live streams together before where we've, last time it was with EVGA they were doing for St. Jude's at the time. So we did some matches there with EVGA to contribute there, and Jay brought it back up with this stream. So really happy with that. It's a lot of fun, and obviously the charities involved to get to walk away really happy. So I especially like it when the charity doesn't even know like anything about any of this, because in the past, like from Cat Angels and Eden Reforestation projects, which we're working with right now, I've gotten messages where they're like, I don't know what happened, but we just got a lot of money from like the PC gamer community. And then they have this, the organization contact we work with for one of them was saying something about how nice the PC hardware community is. And I was like, well, sometimes, yes. Sometimes no. Just depends if we're talking about a major silicon provider or not. It's really the main reason people get into fights. All right, so I typed in 125 offset there. We're at 2115 right now, up from 2085 for the GPU clock. So that's looking good, that's improved. This is technically running a benchmark. We're not gonna use these numbers because I'm like messing with the system, so it's not really gonna be valid. But what it's really doing is just producing a constant load so we can see what the stability looks like. Let's try 150. I could probably get a custom vBIOS for this, that's not gonna work, from EVGA. So I don't know if you caught that, but if you were watching closely, if the quality was good enough on the stream, a couple of like small green and red dots popped up. That's artifacting, is the common word for it. And it's almost always associated with memory, but sometimes you can get it elsewhere too. Memory is the most common. Because we weren't having that issue with the lower core clock, my suspicion would be core clock first, but oftentimes that immediately points you to a memory being unstable. And if your memory is unstable and your GPU overclocking, best takeaway I have for you is, let's say you have 1080 typed in here. These are real numbers I've had this issue with. And it artifacts, so you drop it down. It might actually be the case that at 1100, it will run more stably than it would at 1080 because of how the memory straps work. So that is, don't always drop it down to try and stabilize it if it's a GPU. If it's a CPU, you pretty much have to, but sometimes it's actually increasing it is gonna be better for you than decreasing it in terms of stability. So I did drop it to 140. We're gonna see if that survives. And I pushed the memory to 800 offset. Keaton, oh no, it scrolled up. Let me go back up to it. Keaton Blomquist, you and Roman should both be overclocking dual 64 core epics. There are some requirements, but Roman seems to like the idea. Thoughts? I mean, sure, but I don't have dual 64 core epics. I don't know, like I'm sure I know he's overclocked epic in the past, so I would definitely need his help to do that because I know it required either a BIOS hack or a custom board. Because AMD really locks that stuff down. They don't want you doing that, but there are ways around it. So I mean, I could talk to him for sure. Last time I worked with Roman was on his Intel news announcement where Intel talked about 6 times more soldiers from their CPUs. Adriel Alvarado, $5. Big buffet hours? I don't know what that means, sorry. Bearded Hardware, $4.99. Nice job, broski. What's lacking? Good to see Joe around. We need to try and figure out timing. Actually, I'll mention this while we're talking about Joe. So first of all, Bearded Hardware is his YouTube channel. I've done a lot of streams with him where we get out like the liquid nitrogen pots, which if you haven't seen our streams with that, this is what they look like. This one's, I've got like Vaseline on it to protect it from oxidation, but really big piece of copper. You put this on the CPU, you fill it with liquid nitrogen, which we have some in the doer over there. And Joe and I will do liquid nitrogen overclocking streams together occasionally in person. Been a little while though, but yeah, his channel's Bearded Hardware if you ever want to check that stuff out. A couple people were asking me like, hey, what's up with Joe? I haven't seen him post in a while. And he's tweeted about it, so this is public, but Joe had a kid recently, so he took a short break from YouTube, but he'll be back, I'm sure. Tom Kavalik, $5. Is this the 7980XE? No, but I appreciate the amount of people who remember that meme from its brief lifespan from when that CPU was hot. So we're stable at 800 offset. I mean, it's just heaven, so it's not like system-wide stability, but that's pretty good. 1000, I just punched up to 1000. We've got the core at 140 offset. It has leveled out 2100, 2115. You'll see this number come down as the GPU temperature increases, even if you're manually overclocking, because it is still thermally dependent. So you're always going to see that number change a little bit. All right, Red Sessions says, I need a Gamer's Nexus toolkit, Steve. Yes, we do have them, and they are actually in shipping like now. I think we're looking at a September arrival. It kept getting pushed back due to all the manufacturing delays that you might expect with the way the world especially was at the beginning of the year, but still is. So yeah, we have them in shipping. They are on the way in. We're expecting probably September to be available for purchase. I don't have all the tools in this one because I was doing that competition and pulled them out, but it's a 10-piece toolkit for GPU disassembly, and that will be back on the store as soon as as soon as we get them in. Really highly customized though. We did a ton of work on this thing, like custom grinding down the heads on some of the tools so that they would clear small capacitors on the GPUs for disassembly, stuff like that. But anyway, you'll hear about that when it's back. Looking good though, still holding 2115, still in the 50s for temperature. It is open air, it is 100% speed, so we've got that going for us. What is chat saying? I'm looking at the normal chat. Well, the first thing I saw was a spammer. Deal with that first. Okay. 10900K all day. I don't know why that is being said. There's a 10700 if that helps. I'm just trying to see if there's anything people need to know. Which ITX board do you recommend for AMD? Oh, good question. We have a video on that. Off the top of my head, I don't have a recommendation for you, but we did a video with BuildZoid on the Gamers Nexus channel where he has a roundup of the best B550 boards, and in there he does a little bit talk about X570. So check out that best B550 boards, and he goes over the ITX category of it. So this ran, like I said, I was changing stuff in it on the fly. Let's see, what did, oh, we're doing different settings than Linus had for the stream, but man, this clock is pretty good. Like I'm pretty happy with that. This isn't really a memory test for the GPU, but it does load it, so we get an idea. Let's try 1080. See how that does. See if it just instantly artifacts. Definitely good uplift though. Why not use MSI Afterburner? I mean, two reasons. One is I saw this was pre-installed by Linus's team, and I have never turned this computer on before the stream today. So, you know, I'm just kind of working with, we only had an hour of time between when their stream ended and ours began. So I'm working with what they had pre-installed for us. We downloaded a couple things today during this stream, but yeah, this was on there. I like Precision, I've used it before. They're all buggy, but I'm just the most comfortable overclocking with Precision. It's not because it's necessarily better than Afterburner, it's just that I'm used to it, and I kind of, you know, I know it's, I guess the biggest thing with the overclocking software is knowing the bugs more than knowing how to use it. So I know the bugs with Precision, so I can work around them. I don't necessarily know all the bugs with Afterburner. It's just a familiarity thing. Yes, I agree. Bottom mount CLC would make sense. What resolution is this? So the monitor is set to 1080. The Heaven bench is like, I don't know, 9 something, but it's running at high settings, so it's, you know, it's insane tessellation, this bench. But let's go ahead and just like close it and reopen it. I think they had some custom settings. That's annoying. When we ran it for the LTT stream, which means I don't know exactly what they had set. I know that was set. Let's just run that. Let's let it go and see how it compares. How do you CPU overclock? That's a really wide question. So, an official overclocking guide when? Yes, I see it. So again, I'd recommend checking out our AMD how to overclock AMD Ryzen CPUs video. It's a stream archive from a couple weeks ago, and a lot of that applies to Intel. So same concepts for both. And then the other question here, what free software do you recommend for GPU overclocking? Precision and Afterburner are the most common. Like I said, I don't really recommend one over the other more, but I'm most personally familiar with Precision. You just kind of pick one and learn it. What are the bugs with Precision? Some of the most common bugs with Precision I've encountered in the past that I think are solved now, but I'm not sure, so I'm still working on them. Not running as admin, there were issues where it wouldn't apply the overclocks, but it looked like it did. There were issues where it wouldn't save profiles for a long time, and I think EBJ actually saw a stream we were doing where I was talking about that bug. I like found it in the stream, and they fixed it shortly after that. But profiles have been bugged in the past. Those are the main ones, really. Dual GPU can act kind of funny sometimes, but that's pretty rare. Super chats. Let me catch up on these. Daniel Silva, $20. Great collaboration today. So much fun with my favorite tech tubers unite. Yeah, I mean, so again, Linus said he's going to do more of those, and he's going to have other people on too, so I'm looking forward to watching those. I hope he gets Paul and Kyle in the same one for some kind of competition, because they have so much history. I think they'd really be able to like get in each other's heads about what the other person's going to do. It'd be fun to watch. Matthew Hafner, $2. Is this pre-recorded? Hashtag Linus. No. And neither was the stream we did today, as evidenced by the audio issues that were at the beginning. Lone, $5. Hey, Steve, thanks a bunch for the content. It has helped me pick out components and achieve a 4.4 CCD0, as I'm doing per CCD overclocking, and 4.3 for CCD1 on my 3900X with low voltage and temps. I'm glad it helped. Yeah, biggest thing with like overclocking, overvolting stuff, if you guys get into it, if you're maybe less familiar with it, you can often get a lower V core for like higher clocks than will auto apply. Like if you just run the board, a lot of boards will really go aggressive on V core, and so you can tune it for your CPU, and actually you don't even need to increase the clocks. You can just decrease the voltage, and then you've given yourself more thermal headroom. You can decrease your fan speeds. There's a lot of benefits to it. Which the latter of which being a reduction in noise. Trezvi Zloy, I don't know how to say this, sorry. I think that's Russian currency, 40, with a sticker that says cool. Thank you. H. Mark Bauer, congrats, and was very happy to see how much Cat Angels raked in today. Impressive production by LTT, absolutely agreed. Stig Eric Baccarud, has Joe quit YouTube? Oh, I got this one earlier. He has not posted anything in 3 months, that slacker. No, he's just taking some time off for the newborn. JW Dickinson, still waiting for a beanie to appear in the store. I know. Sam F. Tech, I was thinking about that recently. Steve, can you guys 3D print a case? It can be a nice project. Andrew, what's the maximum print area of your printer?
Probably like 4 by 4 inches.
We can 3D print a case as long as it is no longer than about 4 inches cubed. So maybe. Andrew's double checking. Like super small ITX or something. Zachary Santerre. Hey, congrats on your win today. I ordered a mouse mat during the stream. Any chance you can sign it? Unfortunately, there's no like real way for me to, because distribution is not here, and we don't look per order. So sorry, I don't have a way to do that. What I will say, well, one, thank you for picking it up, and then two, with the first order, we slipped in 100 signed mats that just went out, and people just got them. And if they didn't want the signature, it's fine. You just apply some rubbing alcohol. But so we might do that again. There's a chance you may get one anyway. If you want like signed stuff, the thing to look out for is streams like this. Not doing it today, but sometimes we'll do signatures. Often when a guest is here, like Joe, and we'll do like, let's sign mouse pads or sign posters, and then it's just 100% of them during that stream will be signed, so it's guaranteed. So that's what I'd say to look out for. Sorry, I don't have a good way to like intercept the order and do it though. So this is still running a benchmark right now. We're overclocked on the CPU at 5.1 all-core, and we're overclocked on the GPU by 140 offset on the core, and I think I set it to 1080 offset on the memory, GPU memory. The system memory is running 3200 XMP. I haven't even looked at the timings. That's just how I set it up during the stream with Linus, so that's still running as is. Okay. Let's see. Angry Ace, ever going to restock the smaller mod mat? My workbench is 22-inch depth too narrow for the large mod mat. Yes, the smaller one, the medium mat, is coming in at the same time as the larger mat. It is a massive size difference. It's actually been pretty popular because of what you're saying. So it's coming back in also, but we don't have it listed for back order right now. Just for, just to kind of keep the logistics a little simple. We don't want too many things on back order. So that'll be in around the same time as the large and the mouse mats, which is going to be end of August. And then right now through the 20th, like I said, we're doing a 10% of all store revenue is going towards Eden reforestation projects through the 20th. And that's just anything you buy on the store, we'll do 10% straight to them. And we've done that before with them. They're really great to work with, and I personally believe in what they're doing. So we like them as a charitable organization. But also, if you want to just give money straight to them, I've got a link in the description, and we're doing a match up to $1,500 total. And that'll all be kind of announced when it ends, the 20th, or a couple days after. Okay, so it finished a run. Good. Okay, cool. This was the settings they used for their thing. So this is the official rules. I don't think they showed this. Some behind the scenes for you. This is the official rules for the PC Troubleshooting Challenge. And on this sheet, these are the benchmark numbers they wanted. I printed it out. Some people were like, Steve has notes. It was just the rules, so I could make sure I knew what I needed to score. So like these are the blender times they needed. The R15 score, we blew past that with our simple all-core OC we threw on there. R20, we blew past that. I think we're in the 5,000s for that one, and they needed 4880. And then Heaven benchmark, which is what we just ran with their settings, they wanted 2025, if I'm reading upside down correctly, yes. So here's the score we just got with our quick post Linus stream. We're at 2329, which is actually pretty good improvement, like a couple percent. So that's from a bit of a CPU OC, but also a bit of a GPU OC, which we've got going in the background. This takes so long to run this benchmark, so what I'm trying to do is like tune it while it's running and then run it again. And we should really close all this software too. Lots of thermal headroom on the GPU. Unfortunately, not a lot of power headroom. There's only 112% power target. I should point this out. Sometimes people are like, well, Asus has 125%. Why does this one have 120? It's a percentage, so it's multiplicative by whatever the base number is. If the base number is 100 on one and 110 on the other, then the percentage means different things. But anyway, EVGA has cards or BIOSes that can go past this. We don't have one on here. So that's going to be our biggest limitation, is the amount of power available. I'm like half tempted to throw liquid metal on the card and shunt mod it to get more power out of it, but this is going to some winner of the computer that Linus picked, so I don't want to like start hard modding or even slight hard modding things that's going to someone else. Just make their life a lot harder when they get it and it doesn't work. It's like liquid metal all over the case. Let's try 1120 on the memory. And I'm going to do the same thing. So we're not going to run it the whole way through. I should have run this in windowed mode. I'm just going to tune the memory, and then we'll run it all the way through once it seems like it's kind of stable. Quit. Okay. Go, go. This was killing me during the Linus stuff. It was so slow. How's this going to do? Okay, cool. That's good enough. So I just need to get precision up. We're going to see if this survives at 1120. I kind of think we're going to artifact, but we will quickly find out. What we're really learning is how good is the hardware that the winner of this system is getting. I don't know how the giveaway works. I'm not involved in it at all. So that's all. You got to check like the LinusTechTips page for how they're doing this. But whoever wins it, if you happen to see this video, then I guess you'll have it all pre-tested for you. You can just apply some settings, hopefully. I wouldn't recommend copying like the voltage settings in the CPU, but it gives you an idea for where the max clocks are at least. Kind of cool. Did I get yours? Yes. Let me read like a couple of the store orders. Good amount of them. I'm just going to shout a couple out. Matthew in California picked up a wireframe mouse mat that'll ship end of the month, and you're guaranteed to get one if you have a back order in. I'll mention this too, if any of you have like outstanding back orders, or you're just wondering where something is, or like shipping or issue with the product or anything like that, always feel free to just email support. So support@gamersnexus.net. It's one guy running most of it right now. He'll be happy to take care of it. He's good at it. So DeAndre in Georgia picked up a mouse mat as well. Thank you. I got some that just came in, I'll read. Simon in the UK, nice, picked up a mouse mat. I like to see the international presence. And we got Mustangs by Matt. His YouTube name. I think that's actually his YouTube channel. He does like car work if you're interested in that. Picked up a wireframe mouse mat as well. Let me do like 2 more here. Zachary in Ontario, thank you, Zachary. Grabbed a lightweight pullover hoodie, a mod mat, and a mouse mat. Big order, thank you. Really appreciate it. And I mean, that's what makes like the streams doable. Plus a lot of that, you know, we're doing the charity contributions too. Wireframe mouse mat from Robert in Oklahoma. Okay, so this is still running. So it survived at 1120 for the memory. For NVIDIA, I like to increment the memory by multiples of 20. So I'm doing only 20 right now because I'm pretty sure we're about at the limit. And I like to find it by hitting artifacting rather than just a black screen because it's a little easier to troubleshoot. So I'm doing 20 increments right now. Typically what I'll do is like 400, 800, 1080, 1120, and then I'll step up by 20 from there. It is possible that the performance is worse, as I said earlier, with a higher memory overclock. So to really be sure about it, you have to actually do some benchmarking with it and validate the before and after. Otherwise, you might be running worse than before. So what we're doing right now is we're just going to keep increasing until it stops working, and then we will we'll run the benchmark completely without any interference and see how the scores look. Clocks are really good though, 2130, 2115. A lot of that's thermal dependent, but that's about the best we can do without a crash. Memory is also doing very well. Had an order come in from Drew in Texas, picked up a mouse mat as well, thank you. Okay, what's chat saying? Do you ever have any blemish mod mats? If you mean like this, where it's got like thermal paste and stuff everywhere, then yes, we have them on every workstation in the desk in the office. I don't really replace them because like the mat itself's fine. It's just like dirty with thermal paste. I can clean it out, I guess. CRC works pretty well to get that out. But I kind of like this one. I feel like it adds to the live streaming set to just show how much we've used it. Corsair for case. Oh, is that someone's just answering a question? Okay, I see. Rear fan was blowing on his mic. Yeah, someone's asking why it's unplugged. It was blowing on my mic earlier, and it doesn't matter because we're open air, so all the heat's just going to exit this way anyway. It doesn't really matter. So has it crashed? Has it died? It looks like it may have crashed. I'm going to give it a second to figure out what it's doing with its life. It might just be logging a score, but I think it crashed, so we'll drop the memory to like 1120 there. Are we going to get the GPU artifacting shirts back? I'm not sure. I might reorder that. What are the RAM timings? Someone said, okay, I'll get that one too. What are the RAM timings? I'm not sure. I just did XMP because, I mean, it was a troubleshooting system sent to me by someone else. This is clearly dead, so we're going to kill that. So I just did XMP. We could tweak those a little bit too, probably. So let's try that at 1120. I'm going to close this now, and we're going to run it one more time and see how the score is looking. Will you be signing the case before shipping it out? I don't know. I thought about that, but I don't know if they want my signature because Linus has a very wide audience. There's a good chance they don't know who I am. So, like maybe, I don't know, we can get in contact with them or something and ask. I guess you can always wipe it off with rubbing alcohol if you really don't want it. I was just watching your case manufacturers. You're worsening FPS and power draw. Why are you using a case with tempered glass front? Yes, I don't like this case. But that is what the system was sent in. This is following the LinusTechTips stream. I have a description of the events in the description below if you want to read it. But yeah, this is what was sent to us, and it's working fine since it's all open air anyway. Okay, I got to catch up on super chats here. There's a couple pages I need to get through. We are about, not quite an hour behind, 50 minutes behind on the super chats. We normally do 30 to 60 minutes on that. This is actually running, so let's do a benchmark pass. So while I'm answering these, that'll be getting our next set of bench numbers. Ike 44. I just set my i9-9900K to 1.28 volts, 5.1 all core. It's working fine. Is my CPU degrading if I keep the settings? I don't know what other settings you have. It's only on AMD SoC. It can be like SA and IO voltages on Intel can cause some damage. because you're dealing with a memory controller with like SoC, for example. So those are the ones to really be careful of. 1.28, assuming your LLC isn't like some psychotic high LLC, then like as in the motherboard's doing something absolutely insane, then you're fine. Like 1.28 is really good for a 9900K at 5.1. That's a good chip. Let's see. Physiology with Dr. Christian, $5. Thank you. Says this is cool. Thanks. Friction, 2600. Say hi to your camera guy. We can see him in the case front panel reflection. Yeah, before I rotated it. Yes, Andrew had to man the previous stream as well and this one. So suffice to say, it's been a pretty long streaming day. CJ Cody, overclocking my R7 2700 past 3.72. 3.72 causes a hard shutdown with a 750 gold PSU. Could it be the motherboard or the power supply at this point? My first suspicion is the settings. 3.7 is really low on a 2700. My second suspicion is the motherboard VRM. Maybe check the VRM temperature. Like, if you have a feed to it, a lot of the MOSFETs can read into hardware info somewhat accurately. You get an idea there. You can also just do a field test. I mean, it's not like accurate numbers-wise, but if you touch it and it's like burning hot, then it gives you a clue at least to look into it. You could try positioning a fan over top of the VRM. That'd be my first guess, but it could be settings too. Grizzard Mox, $5. Any chance of an XXL mouse mat in the future? My IBM Model M almost downsizes your current mat compared to a larger mouse pad. Oh, to a large mouse pad. So I guess my question for chat then is like, what do you consider XXL for a mouse pad or a mouse mat? Because this is like desk size, so it's pretty large. But we could definitely look into larger mouse mats. I just would like a community idea. And we'll have someone watching chat to read the answers. Which is your favorite AIO? Right now, the Arctic CLC, the Arctic Liquid Freezer, and the EK AIO are the top two performers in our cooler benchmarks. And if you want to learn more about thermal performance, stuff like objective numbers, you can check our cooler stuff for that. This is still running, but it's alive, so that's good. Andrew, don't you just mean Patrick? Don't you know that everyone at GN is named Patrick? Yes, this is another longtime viewer, clearly. Martin Parker, how about an XXXL mouse mat? I need a new carpet. You know, you present a good idea. I think probably what we want in the future is something that just comes in a big roll that you can then buy and roll out to the size of your room, and then you just cut it to size. That's really probably, I mean, as Gamers Nexus, clearly our future is in furniture and flooring. So keep an eye out for that. Just Steve, $10. Buy your anniversary edition shirt after watching your MSI ethics video. Glad to support honest content with integrity. Thank you. Yes, I need to do a follow-up on the MSI thing at some point. We've been talking with them a little bit, so there's a bit more we can share on that situation as well. But needless to say, hopefully anyway, they are certainly aware of the content. They are trying to improve, so that's also good, but we'll follow up more in a different piece. Roberto Chierchia, sorry. Hi, Steve. Would you think I can survive some more years with a 7700K, 32 gigabytes at 3.2 gigahertz, CL14 RAM? I'm assuming the 3.2 is the RAM. And 5700 XT Nitro. Yes, for the Nitro, for sure, that's a good card. Like that, specifically that model cooler is very good. 7700K is good still. It's falling behind, but I would say 2356. Okay, cool. So that's going to be our final GPU numbers. We're done there. I would say overclock the 7700K. If you can get it close to 5 gigahertz, it's going to be a lot better than stock. We have a set of numbers in our recent R3 reviews, actually. The R3 reviews have 7700K numbers. You can check those out for comparative data. 2356 for the score. So we're just going to stop there on the GPU OC. And that's going to be a, let me write this down. That was a 140 core and 1120, I think, for the memory on the GPU. Okay. I'm going to shut down for a second and then go look at the memory, because why not, I guess, at this point. Might as well do some memory overclocking too. Well, it's a lot quieter with that off. Sean9355. That loading is for the Gigabyte Extreme gaming software. Thank you. That is the thing I thought was, it's not plugged in. Thing I thought was malware when we did the troubleshooting challenge with Linus. That like spinning loading thing. I went looking for stuff in the startup folder. Like I thought they planted something to slow the system down. It seemed like a fun idea, but nope, just actual software that you can use. Let's do 48 there. Actually, let's try 50 and just see if it dies immediately. This is for the cache ratio. Core's already 51. Cache ratio is a pretty big hit to like gaming performance. Highly recommend. Like, we have a 10600K OC piece on it. If you're curious, you can check out. But cache ratio plus all core does a lot for performance in gaming where you're CPU bound. A lot of people overlook cache ratio because all core is kind of the like number that people want to be the big number. But if you're really trying to increase your performance and you don't want to do anything too crazy, then that's a good way to do it. You're going to end up a little bit below all core in most cases, I think, with cache ratio. I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate anymore, but that's definitely how it used to be, at least. So we'll see. It may crash here. I haven't touched the SA or IO. God, let's get this software out of there. It's going to kill our score. Go away. Go away, RGB software. We're really just trying to see if it's alive, if it's stable, though. You guys should make a GN case with proper airflow. We've received that suggestion a lot. It is hard to make and a bit easier to criticize, so maybe one day. So not stable there. We'll try 49. Let's see. Just wanted the Gamers Nexus. This is Sarita Anderson. Just wanted the Gamers Nexus and Linus Tech people to know that they've inspired me to do so. That might be in response to something I said or something they typed earlier. So I'm missing the so part, but I'm happy to hear that we have inspired you to do whatever it is. All right, so 50 was no good on the cache. We're just kind of going through the whole system. There's like just a full system, simple tune. If you've missed the beginning, we're at 51x all core, so 5.1 gigahertz on the 10700K. We've got a 2070 Super in there that we overclocked. 140 megahertz offset, and that's at max power target. And then we have the memory at 1120 megahertz. Wasn't quite there. It might be 1140, I don't remember. Wasn't quite there at 1160, so we stopped where we were for that. Scores were improving overall, though. It was a bit kind of up and down depending on the stability of the memory. Now what we're doing is the cache ratio. So what I'm doing is kind of working my way around in a circle on the system where we start with CPU, go to the GPU, come back to CPU. So I'm just trying to increase the performance of the system as a whole. Typically, there's not a massive impact to Cinebench. Get this, go away. Trying to kill this software. There's not a massive impact to Cinebench performance with the cache ratio, but a big one in gaming. Startup. How about no OneDrive, no Skype, no security notifications, and no auto run from Gigabyte? Oh, no. Disable. Okay, all right. That'll fix that problem in the future. It's still like spinning, but we'll just, whatever. just trying to see if it's stable. Jose Abreu, $4.99, no message, thank you. Joshua Swear, $9.99. Congrats on being asked to attend. This is for the winners charity, they say. Well, yeah, I mean, we're pitching into Cat Angels as well, so they'll certainly get more of that. I guess that gave away, but we already did give it away anyway by accident earlier. So, but thank you for sending in the message and the congrats. Dennis Michaels, thank you for all the hard work and helping Cat Angels. You've inspired me to visit their Amazon wish list and make a donation. I forgot they had that. That's a good idea, though. They definitely go through a lot of that stuff. Thank you for contributing. We've met with them locally. We actually built a computer for them in, I don't know if it's visible from where the camera is, but there's a cat case back there, that Cute Pet Yeston case. We built the system for them in that. We have a video on it last year. So Cinebench passed. 5377 is pretty good considering we've got a big spinning gigabyte bloatware software symbol in the middle of the screen. So that cache ratio was stable for that one. I think we can probably take a look at the memory from here. I'll shut down, that way I can walk away from the keyboard for a second, and then I'll boot in and look at the memory. Brian Medina. It takes 8.5 watts to run 6 P12 fans on the Arctic Liquid Freezer 2 cooler. Thank you for the assist. Okay, I think I know who this is. Someone emailed me and said, hey, I'm trying to get an answer on if my Liquid Freezer 2 cable can support 6 fans or if it's going to burn out a header. And I forwarded, if it's who I think it is, it looks like it is, I forwarded that email to Arctic, and their response is actually really, really well thought out. So I was impressed with their support. Although the initial support response is not great, that's why it came to me. But when it went to the actual engineers, it got a really good answer. Jeremy Clayton, aka Zeta, in our server. Zeta gives 1337, says, please tell Andrew he is the best camera person and a good 3D modeler. Andrew says, oh, nice, thank you. Are you offended that he only went with good for the descriptor of your 3D modeling skills? Andrew's highly offended. Zeta also says, also 1060 blaze it when. I should do that. I forgot about that. We have it in the storage, the GPU rack. One of our viewers sent in a 1060. 1060, is that right? Yeah. 1060 that had been through literally an oven multiple times, reflowing it to try and get it to live, and he was able to revive it. And he sent it to us when he was done with it, so we should do something with it at some point. I don't really know what this memory is gonna be good for. No pre-testing on this memory at all. So I'm gonna try 1616, bring it down from 18, and then we're gonna do 34 here instead of 38. Like quick point of reference on the RAS ACT time. You can multiply, some boards will have like 4 of the first set of primaries, but take the middle 2 numbers normally. But you can multiply the other 2 numbers, or sorry, add the other 2 numbers together. I say multiply because it's the same, but you add them together and then add 2 is a just quick rule of thumb, not guaranteed, but typically that result will be stable. So that's normally how I pick this number when I'm just kind of typing stuff in to initially figure it out. This refresh cycle time is really high. This is a really common number that gets way overshot by auto settings in BIOS. So let's bring that to I want to do 372 instead of 560, which is what it is right now, which is super high. But I don't know how good the memory actually is. I don't want to change too many things at once. So let's stick with the one change we've made and see if it still turns on. And if it does, then we can do other stuff. Let's see what's chat saying. The rear fan is off. Yes, that is intentional. Wait, why is Gigabyte software installed in this system? It has 0 gigabyte components. I guess it's got the cooler. I think that's probably why. Probably the cooler. Intel is milking 14 nanometers. Absolutely. They, to their credit, have gotten it really far, though. Like, they're not going to be able to live on it forever. It's getting to the end, but they've definitely stretched it out. But you are starting to see really hard diminishing returns now. So, thinking that memory... Oh, it's trying to boot. So either it applied or it didn't. We'll find out when we're in. Looks like it did not. Safe mode's really nice for BIOS. Asus does this on this particular board, but it's on a lot of boards now. Safe boot means it keeps all your settings, so you don't have to, actually I should save a profile. So you don't have to reset them all. Just for the winner, I guess, let's title this, Steve was here. It's like a worse version of an autograph that can be deleted more easily. I'm gonna save that just so I don't have to deal with it again. So it didn't like those settings. Let's try a little bit more aggression. I've got backups of all these parts before anyone's concerned that like stuff's gonna be abused when we send it out. We've got double of everything. Okay, let's see how that does. Might not work. Okay. Yoshio 267. Gamers Nexus, come for the computers, stay for the hair, they say. Jonathan Leftick, $5. I love you all. Please keep doing what you are doing. We will definitely keep doing what we are doing. Thank you. Poffy or Pofi, $10. Is overclocking, this is a good question. Is overclocking science or luck? Is there a method, in quotes, that just works, or is it really luck of the draw and trial and error? So clearly you're seeing the trial and error process here, but it's trial and error with a bit of knowledge to it. So you kind of know what's not going to work. Like I knew this memory setting was going to be questionable, so I didn't change the other ones because I figured, well, it's probably not going to work, so we shouldn't complicate it. So there's some experience involved in trial and error, but there's a lot of trial and error. Is it a science to an extent? There's some like known figures, for example, on what's going to kill a CPU right away, like what voltages will really blow it up, and you're talking normally LN2 voltages at that point. Is there a method? Yes, but everyone's got a different one. My preferred approach with AMD and Intel, but most recently AMD, is to do figure out the all-core frequency first with a higher voltage, and then bring down the voltage. And then I like to figure out any like ancillary settings. So with Intel, that'd be cache ratio. With AMD, that'd be Infinity Fabric. And then I get to memory, frequency, and timings. GPUs thrown in there, wherever. So that's kind of my method to it, where I take the stuff that I think is, personally, I think is easiest. I work my way to the hardest stuff. That way, you don't feel defeated while you're working on it. Because if you start with the most difficult thing, like memory, it's going to be rebooting so much, especially the first times you do it, that you're just like, screw this, and you give up. So I'd start with the easiest stuff first, which to me is all core. So that memory setting's not taking. I'm just going to go ahead and set this back and try that instead. And then, oh, did I type 374? Maybe I did. Or is it just auto set? I think it auto set. Let's just boot, see what it applies. Let's see. Just reading chat. What? Trying to catch up on what's happening in chat. Targeted trial and error with some method. Yeah, I'd absolutely agree. Oh yeah, and then this, I forgot to answer that part of the question. There is luck involved. And it's the silicon quality. I forgot to answer that. Silicon quality would be the luck that you don't have much control over. Unless you're going to buy a lot of stuff and test it individually. Still catching up on super chats, trying to overclock at the same time. We're getting to the end of a good OC here. I'm pretty happy with where it is right now for just air cooling and everything. We're not messing with BCLK today. So 49x is our cache ratio. We're going to leave that there. Oh, yeah, that's right. We need to go back to memory. So it did boot. What did it apply? It applied 560 for RFC. I'm going to try and bring that down to 372. Let's do like 372, 192. Oh no, wait. 212 and then 192 maybe. So we'll try that, see how that goes. Might not like those settings. But RFC is like, just speaking, I mean, overclocking's got a really wide net of experience, I guess, where you talk to different overclockers, like people who actually are really good at it. And everyone's got kind of a different approach, different stuff they tweak. I like to change RFC first every single time for memory after the primary timings, because I find it has the biggest impact on stuff, but it's not always the case. 4 active window, TFAW is the other one. Jack to Ghetto, hey Steve, congrats. Quick question, I want to build a PC and to overclock the RAM. Can buy 3200 CL14 or 4000 CL19, both B die. Which is better binned RAM? I'm not sure. I guess it depends on the manufacturer making the sticks. We've had good success with 4000 and higher timings, or I should say looser timings. Getting them down to like, say take 4000, bring it down to like 38, and then really tighten the timings. Sometimes you end up ahead that way. So it's going to depend on the stick manufacturer. I think gut instinct is telling, well, 3200 CL14 is really rare these days. You don't see it as much. Very good memory, but if you do 4000, just remember to try and bring the timings tighter, because that's commonly, you start throwing away performance. It's diminishing returns once you get to those frequencies. Okay, I'm just trying to see if we can get something for memory better than what it was. We're not going to see much of a reflection in the scores for these benchmarks, though. Mustangs by Matt. I just bought techjesus.net and forwarded it to my favorite YouTuber's website. I'm going to say thank you and hope that it's us. Let me know if you want the login info. The domain's yours if you want it. P.S. Quit trying to give me stuff. I'll buy another Medium mod, Matt. Well, thanks for the offer. Yeah, Mustangs by Matt actually did a really cool thing and did a charity auction of his, I think, #1 signed a #1 Medium mod mat, which there's literally one of those. I did a charity auction for it, which was really cool to see. He was inspired by the NZXT build auction we did. And then I said, hey, let me replace that mat for you so we can at least get another one out to you, because that was awesome. And then he said, I'll buy one. So, I mean, that's cool, thanks. I was happy to try and support. That was awesome to see. We retweeted it as soon as we saw it. Okay, so this is clearly not working on the memory side. I could throw better RAM in there that I have in the office, but I think we're probably going to just call it on the tuning and maybe just go through the super chats and start closing out here. Really happy with the overclocks, though. 140 offset on core for the GPU. Really tempted to do NVLink, but it would take driver setup and stuff. 140 offset GPU core, 1120 or 1140 for the memory, and then 5.1 all core for the CPU with a 49x cache ratio. Didn't get much done on the memory side, but that's okay. It's not like it's overclocking memory. Okay, let me go through these super chats. So, a couple things before I go through the super chats here. First of all, definitely check out the Linus troubleshooting stream where we worked on this exact system. Jay had a replica of it, and we were competing to troubleshoot it. Definitely check out the stream, a lot of fun. We did the overclocks. I just gave you the recap of that, so numbers looking pretty good there. And then, oh yeah, other information, I guess, like I said, we've got the contribution going to Eden Reforestation projects. We worked with them last year, and last year, through combined contributions from what we're doing now, which was a 10% contribution of like the store gross revenue and a match from our distributor. Our distributor kicked in a lot of money as well. And then we did a match with our viewers. Viewers raised thousands of dollars independently. All of that combined, especially the viewer contributions last year, ended with, I think the numbers the Eden Reforestation projects gave me was 90,000 trees planted. So it was almost to 100,000. So really cool. We're excited to work with them again as well. And this will be going through the August 20th. But anyway, so that's the sort of notes before I read through all these. Oh, last note. Don't send any more super chats. I see the one that just came in. I'm not going to answer any after that. So let me update the description just so people get that message. I'm going to read all the ones that are currently in. But then, let me just delete that. Okay, cool. And then we'll stop there. All right. Merciful Arts, the orange loading gigabyte is gigabyte GPU software. Yes, got that note earlier from someone. Thank you. Nighthawk, requesting review haiku for the 5700 XT Thick 3 Ultra. I need to like practice these now, apparently. Is it 575? I think it is. Is it like thick 3 is 2? I've really screwed myself with one syllable. Large for its own good and does not cool very well at all. There's your haiku. If it's 5.7, I don't remember. I think it's 5.75. CJ Cody, $5. Is it normal for a 2060 Super to boost to 2115 at times on air cooling, or did I get lucky? You may have gotten a bit lucky. It's going to depend on the cooler, though. Like, if you have a really good cooler on there and the thermals are running better than like a reference card, then that would make sense. Okay. Just trying to keep up with chat and everything else. Okay. When do you think the PSU shortage will end? This was in chat. The power supply manufacturers tell me they keep getting massive shipments, but they're like selling out immediately. So I don't know. I think it's like a luck thing right now. Demand is insane. But yes, I'm not sure. I know that they keep getting shipments, and I think it's a matter of getting lucky on the restock. I know a lot of like Newegg will often update stock at like midnight and at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So you might want to check then and see if you get lucky. Drinky Bird, $5. Hi, Steve. If I send you adoption papers, will you autograph them for me? I think an autograph in that context might have different implications. Vocaloid, do you think NVIDIA will make another 710-esque GPU for computers that just need display output? And if you do, will you LN2 overclock it? So the 710 is like the stupidest thing in the sense that I don't know if it still does, but it was selling like thousands of units per month for a long time, and was kept around just because it's display out only and no one needed better. So probably, like when sales slow down, I'm sure they'll refresh it. Zombie spleen. That's an interesting organ to represent as a zombie, but my GPU boosts itself to 1910 megahertz when it's only meant to go to 1545. MSI stock 2080 Ti. That doesn't sound right. No OC, just to up the fan curve. So a 2080 Ti shouldn't stop at 1545. 1910 sounds right. Maybe you're referencing base or something. I'm not sure what base clock is listed as, but that sounds right to me. Adam Looney, shout out to GN support staff. Moving and they are shipping my wireframe mat to another location. Also a great one for the cats. Yeah, so I mean, like I said earlier, if you have back orders in and you move or something, just email support and they'll update your address for you. They're pretty quick about it. Red Squirrel, $10. Random idea. You should get fans to design a case and send it to you for review. Could be fun to see everyone's designs. Logistics might be tricky. I agree on both parts. I wonder if maybe we could do a half step and do like have people send the mock-up or something as opposed to an actual case, and then maybe we make the one we think is the coolest, but I don't know how we would do that though. Lynn, $10, no message. The Ozum, $5. Steve, hi. Hi. Light Peach, $5. Are you going to review the Galahad AIO from Lian Li? Yes. We just took B-roll footage of it the other day, and I'm planning to get it tested in the next week or two. VC Jester, I want to see Gordon versus you in one of these upcoming competitions. That would be awesome. I'd love to get Gordon out in person at some point when it's possible to do that again and do some kind of head-to-head battle or something. Gordon, the VC Jester is referring to Gordon from PC World. Gordon, I mean, I read the articles he wrote when he was editor-in-chief, I think, that was his title, at Maximum PC before I was doing this. So Gordon's got a lot of experience in the industry and has a lot of hot takes on the industry. He's really fun to do interviews with. We have a lot on the channel with him. Ardilla, can you use a 360 RAD in the top or front of a defined 7 if you use the extra hard drive cages? I'm not sure. I don't have the case in front of me. I'd have to look it up on their website. We might have talked about it in the review, but yeah, sorry, I don't memorize the specs of the cases normally. Unity Bean. When is Tech Jesus Bible coming? Love your work. I'm going to stay away from that one. Matthew Blake, $10. Upgrading the 4690K from a 4690K. Got high-end X570 set up with a Ryzen 3600. Let's see. Drop an 8-core or a... Wait, what drop? Oh, they're asking a question. Should I get... There's a limited caricature count. It took me a second to fill in the blanks. Should I get a high-end X570 setup with a Ryzen 3600 now and then drop in an 8 or 12-core 4000? Or should I skip all that and get a 37 or 39 and be done with it? We don't know what 4000 is going to do. So I think my answer to that is probably just depending on how much you need right now, depending on what you're doing. 3600 from a 4690K is an upgrade in a lot of cases, but not a massive one. The 3700X is a pretty massive upgrade. Not necessarily in gaming, that's not that different from a 36, but in other stuff. I don't know. I mean, if you wait for Ryzen 4000, you're paying more money because the 3700X, 3900X, they've had price reductions recently. 4000 series is going to run more expensive because it'll be new, and they won't necessarily do more price cuts to 3000, but I mean, it could happen. So my kind of instinct tells me if you need a system now and you really want more power, I would say 36 because the price is so stupid cheap today. Rather than 37, because then you're only in 160 bucks as opposed to like 400 on a 3900X. It gives you a bit more flexibility to upgrade. Sir myself, 6660 Canadian. Oh well, just give all the money to Cat Angels then. I can't believe you forgot. What is this? This is what not to do if your bird blank on you. Oh, that's from Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. That's right. This is referencing the earlier one. Thank you for, I forgot about that completely. I've seen Maiden too. And then says, can't send a second super chat in 30 minutes. Took a while. I didn't know about that either. I will pass it along. We'll do an update in our, we actually have an update on some of the charity contributions we've done lately. That'll be in the next hardware news episode. We just filmed one recently, but one of them that I'll update you guys on now, other than the other, like, you know, passing this along that I'll update you on in the next one. But one of them, that NJXT BLD finally sold. So we listed that for auction a while ago. That was going to Cat Angels as well. And the first time we listed it, the winner didn't pay. Happens sometimes on eBay. People try to drive the price up and then they accidentally win. So the second time, someone actually did pay for it and won it and wants it. So that's really cool. I think it was $2,400 that went for. And eBay's doing all of that, so they'll handle that transaction. Lucas Rossi, hey Steve, is there any actual performance disadvantage in mini ITX boards besides the usually limited VRMs? Any recommendations for an X570 board that may allow for a small OC for 3950X? Is there a performance disadvantage? I mean, not really. Like, mini ITX boards actually typically have an advantage in overclocking because your memory is closer to the socket. You only have two memory slots. It depends, but like the higher end MSI and Asus ones do typically overclock better on mini ITX. The VRM can be limiting on some of them, but they've gotten, like, with these 90 amp power stages that people are using now, it's not really that much of a problem. So I would say no. The disadvantage would obviously be fewer things if you wanted more video cards or something like that. Let's see, what's chat? X570 Tomahawk availability in the UK, no idea. We are pretty caught up here, not too many more to go through. I'm just getting through all the super chats at the end here, and then we'll talk to chat for a little bit, normal chat, and then we'll close it out. Hey, Blinken says, is Lucky the Dragon still buried in the hole you dug, or was that just for dramatic effect? It's for dramatic effect. It is back on the table being used to hold phones when people take a lunch break. So it was for dramatic effect. Actually, there's a couple back there too. There's like two right there. Despacito XR, difference between voltage curve and offset GPU OC. So there's a few ways to do GPU stuff, but AMD's is really, I don't really like how the volt frequency curve works, but, and their software anyway. You can do a volt frequency curve, which is where you're setting a different voltage at different frequencies along this curve. So you kind of have two axes. You've got frequency, you've got voltage. And as the frequency increases, the voltage will increase. What this does for you, it's useful in CPUs too, with Intel's new stuff. What it does for you is it allows you to set specifically lower voltages for those lower frequencies. So if you're running an application that's not completely loading the component, then you can run at that lower voltage. I don't know, there's not like a lot of scenarios where to actually use it in practice, because a lot of the time you're just kind of blasting it anyway. So yeah, I mean, that's the idea, is that it's more efficient, but I don't normally use it. No, $20. Would the Der Bauer Ryzen 300 OC bracket AIO be worth a try on my 3950X? Has GN tried these? Actually, no. I think I saw him post about them. I haven't tried them. I don't know if that's like a direct mount bracket or what it is, but I can message him and ask him to update me on it. Jason Skylink, 666. Nice. Just tuned in, and what's the CPU and RAM specs? So it was 10700K running. The memory is 3200, I think. Basically went with auto timings. And then the GPU is a 2070 Super. We got the CPU to 51, so 5.1 gigahertz all core. It was actually doing 5.0 at 1.38, and I could definitely get that lower. But that's what we did for the stream, I think. And the GPU is a 140 offset core and 1120 memory. And cache was 49x on the CPU. So we tuned just about everything. Dante, Armoros Tech, we're going to go with. I'll pick up some merch when my studio is built. Nice. Well, enjoy building the studio. It's a fun time. Friction 2600. Yeah, I just bought from the Gamers Nexus store. Kudos for having a hoodie and 2XL. No problem. I mean, yeah, we try to keep everything in stock. It's hard with shirts because you never really know like what the distribution is going to be. But definitely try to keep all the sizes we can. Feels goof, $5. I also hate this case, they say. We have something in common. DJ Bob, $20. Had a lot of fun watching the tech support competition earlier. Love your channel. Just picked up a back order from a mod mat. Nice. Yes, if you're on back order on store.gamersnexus.net for the mod mats, which are, my distributor called me like 2 nights ago and he was like, hey, you know how we thought we were way ahead of the mod mat orders for once? We're not. We're almost sold out. So yeah, if you have a back order on it, you're in the list. You're like guaranteed to get the next round. So that ships end of August. Brutal Zealot, $5. Any plans to review the Lian Li AIO and the linkable fans? Yes. I don't think I have the linkable fans unboxed, but they are in. And then the Galahad AIO is also in. So we are reviewing that one within the next couple weeks. And then the linkable fans, they're called Unifan. They socket together, for those of you who don't know. I don't know what we're going to do with those. We're not like going to do a full fan review on it, but I might mess around with it for some kind of like at least like structural review, mechanical review. Not sure though. Daniel Perez, $50. Wow, thank you. Do you all have tools used videos, in depth if available, or point me to other resources? Tools used videos. I'm assuming you mean like what tools do we use for this? I'm not quite sure. That's my guess. I'll give a quick list. So software side, hardware info, GPU Z, CPU Z. Those are like the 3 basics. Highly recommended. Physical hardware tools. I mean, for GPUs, you need more. We have a GPU toolkit for it, but there's like 10 kind of basic ones to take apart almost any GPU. You start getting into some weird Allen key and hex stuff with some of NVIDIA's reference, but for the most part, you know, Philips had 2, Philips had 1, Philips had 0 helps sometimes for smaller stuff like M.2, and then hex head 5 and 4 are really useful for standoffs and for like DBI stuff, things like that. I don't know if that answers the question. Bill Bixby, air-cooled 2600K at 5 gigahertz for like a decade now, represent best processor ever made. I don't think many people would disagree with you if you say 2600, 2500K, that was like Intel's shining moment. It's crazy how good they are still. That was when CPUs felt like they had, well, they did. They had more overclocking headroom because the companies they weren't hammering them as hard out of the box as they are now, where it's better. Like, it's better to be as high as possible on the frequency from Intel, from AMD these days, where they're close to the limit and there's not that much OC headroom. But obviously, it takes away a bit of the feeling of accomplishment when you can push your 2600K to 5 gigahertz 10 years ago. Like, that's really good. So yeah, we revisit that one regularly, and it always does well. We've got about a page left of super chats, so we're almost through these, and then we'll close out. Mark Langanol, I have a 2700K with a 1080 Ti. Will I really notice that big of an upgrade if I go with Ryzen 4K and a 3080 Ti? I feel like I play things already on max-ish without streaming at 2K resolution. So, will you notice that big of an upgrade? Well, unfortunately, you're asking about components that aren't out, so I have no idea. Like, no one really knows. NVIDIA might know. I can give you an example from the current generation that is out. 2080 Ti, 1080 Ti, you're looking maybe 20-30% off the top of my head. I haven't looked at those numbers in a while, but something like that. 2700K to like a 3700X, you'll see a, wow, 2700K. If that's Intel 2700K, then like anything, for the most part, despite how good it was, will be a massive upgrade. If you mean a 2700X from AMD, then I might wait on that. Like, it's still a good CPU. I don't think I'd upgrade just yet. Deep fried lettuce, quite the username. Might do well in a state fair. Says, I bought a limited run case from Barrow. Got unit 1 of 99. But on hindsight, they say they should have asked for unit 69. I'd ask for unit 666, but I guess it doesn't go that high. 1 of 99 from Barrow. I'd be curious what that was. We had the wheels they did. I think those were limited edition. We reviewed that wheel case, but they do some weird stuff. It's kind of neat sometimes. The last Hornet says, it's nice to find a channel that seems to care more about my time than their sponsors, hashtag buy Dyson. I want to be clear, Dyson is not a sponsor and probably will never be based on our vacuum video previously. Yeah, I mean, we try to keep I'd say the only thing we aren't as conscious about viewer time on is length of videos. I've been trying hard to keep them under 30, and we have to cut a lot of stuff sometimes, but we try. Almost through these. For people hanging out in chat, I'll check that before we end at the very end. Sabi Shihito, run Typhoon Burner to find memory ICs. I will look into that, thank you. Bob7D, couldn't find a good explanation of what cache ratio does physically to the processor and the performance impact of changing the cache ratio values. Let me pull up some numbers if I can quickly get them anyway. 10600K tuning, I think is what we called the video. Yes, I have some numbers on it. Let me just jump to one of these. Hitman 2, just as an example. So in a like-for-like scenario, we had a 10600K. You're asking about like the impact. The video, if you're curious, is Intel i5 10600K cache ratio and RAM overclock beats 10900K. That's what we titled it. So 106 at 5.1 in both tests. Oh, is one of those memory tuned? Oh, no, we do have a like-for-like. Okay, 5.1 for each. The cache change, same thing. Cache change was an improvement of 138.3 minus 3.4 divided by 134.9. This is like 2.5% for this particular game. There's a couple others where I think we saw a bigger hit. Here's one, 174 from 166. So quick numbers, 1.8 divided by 166. So that one was a 4.8% increase. That's Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So if I remember correctly, we're seeing between like 3 and 6 on average. I think there might have been one at 8%. But that's the numbers I have for you. So hopefully that helps give an idea. Where did the questions go? Oh yeah, this comment again. So Even if your videos are sometimes a bit long on the details, your timestamp features and the time bar are awesome for skipping past the points that are too detailed. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely aware of like the desire to skip something, so I'm happy to have I'm glad YouTube added that feature too. Comment from Chen Zhi, $10. Says, enjoyed both your stream and Linus's. Thanks to your 10600K tuning video, I got my 10900K at a pretty good place. Awesome. Really happy to hear that. That's what I like try to help people with when we do those types of videos. Try and give some practical knowledge on it. Ike44, I'm off to bed, 2:40 here in Denmark. Have fun. All thanks for watching. We are now down to the last 10 minutes, like the past 10 minutes of Super Chats. We're fully caught up. Rusky, $5. Can memory tuning fix micro stutter issues in Windows, not only in-game? Micro stutter is normally caused by stuff like SLI, for example. Like specifically the phrase micro stutter. It has a certain meaning to me. Memory tuning, I don't think really fixes that if we're thinking of the same thing. In Windows, that sounds like something's wildly unstable, or there's a missing driver maybe. Maybe like the display drivers weren't installed properly. I'm trying to think of like what would look like micro stutter on desktop, and what I'm thinking of is like refresh issues, display driver issues, stuff like that. That'd be where I'd start. Nicholas Matera, did you try putting an ice cube on the memory to get a better OC? No, we did not, but I hope that is a reference to when people were begging us to put an ice cube in a reservoir when we overclocked Hades Canyon. SGX Liam, is a Xeon W3680 better than an i7-920? I have no idea. I don't have the Xeon stuff memorized. I'm sorry. I could go look it up and probably answer that, but you could probably do that too. I don't really work with Xeons. Joshua Sanfilippo, we're in the last like 6 here. Hey Steve, I'm currently running a 1066 and I want to upgrade to a 2070 Super. I'm on a budget. Should I wait for the release of RTX 3000? Maybe hope for a 3060. I don't know the exact timing of when the 3060 is coming out. I would probably wait though. You might miss a window to buy like the current generation GPUs. That's the downside. If you wait, like the current stock is going to stop being made. They'll switch over. So there's going to be a period there where you might not be able to get a card. So that's the downside. Upside is RTX 3000 should be out in September probably, and the 3060 will eventually follow. It might be a bit later than the flagships, but that's my thinking on it. If you can like run well enough for now, it's probably not that long, like 4 or 5 months max for another for a lower tier 3000 card probably. Shane Cutting, $20. Just picked up a mouse mat. Which would you choose between? Oh, one, thank you. Which would you choose between an MSI Meg X570 Ace or Crosshair Hero 8 and why? I actually haven't worked with the Crosshair Hero 8, but I have worked with a lot of the Crosshair line in the past. For overclocking, I'd honestly choose the Crosshair. I haven't worked with that like exact model, but they're pretty much the same BIOS. So I find the BIOS easier to navigate. I find there's a lot more tools on the web to like download stuff, like pre-made memory profiles, for example, that you can just apply. So I find it easier to work with in that sense for overclocking. The Ace is fine though. It's kind of like it's the same as the Unity, really. Vincent Charvet. Hi Jan, I'm watching you a lot since I decided to build my PC on my own for my first time. Nice. I'm always curious how people actually like find this. Like, how do you find PC building? But anyway, they say you've been very helpful for choosing motherboards and cases. What is this country code? Where is it? Oh. Regional indicator symbol. Clipperton Island. Not familiar with it. I will find that on a map so that I can become more versed in where people are from. I always feel bad when I haven't heard of a place before. Where is this exactly? Clipperton. That's assuming that Google was correct. Oh man, is this actually the correct country code? If so, this looks like way off the coast of anything, which is super cool if that's the case. Well, I don't know how it is to get PC components there. I guess you ship them like anyone else, but I know that the pricing can be all over the place for more remote places. Either way, that's awesome. XX Raptor 5150XX. That is a gamer name if I've ever seen one. Hi, GN. What do you like to do outside of GN? Camping? Question mark. Actually, definitely not camping, but mountain biking. I've got a side channel called GN Steve, if you want to look it up. I've got some downhill biking videos where, like, most recently I talk about some technical questions and comments and stuff like that while riding down a mountain on the bike. There's like, it's cool. It might be interesting. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, wait, I overcounted. Good. Let's see. Austin Horton says, not Evans, who was in the stream earlier. Thanks for all the thorough videos from everyone at GN. Absolutely. Thank you for watching them. Logan Motardier, DA, no message, thank you. King of Games, 2007, just finished my PC builds because of you guys. Ryzen 3950X, 32 gigabytes RAM, 2070, 1 terabyte Samsung NVMe, EK360 AIO, LAN Cool 2 mesh case. That sounds like a lot of things that we have been pretty positive on, so that's a good build. 2 years in the making, nice. I don't have a problem with any of those parts. Those are all things we've been pretty happy with. Last two, and then we're done with the super chats. Alexander Bollinger, how does a 4960X stack up against the new Intel chips? Probably not great. I don't remember the specs off the top of my head. Oh, that is not a high frequency. What's it? Quarter 3, 2013. Man, you upgrade to like anything, you're going to be way better off, especially in games. So how does it stack? I don't have a number for you. We haven't tested it. I don't think we even have one of those. Adam, $5. Once you figure out your overclock, how do you maintain it? Does it always stay 5.1? Does it downclock, not underload? Good question. So you don't really have to do anything to maintain it. It will like downclock if your Windows power profile is set to anything that's not high performance, so balanced. And it'll, when you're not doing stuff, it'll look like it's really low in hardware info. And then when you do stuff, it'll boost. So you run high performance, it just stays. That's all there is to it. You don't really have to maintain it. Only thing to look out for is thermals. If it runs too hot, then it'll downclock. Good question, though. All right, so that's going to be it for the super chats. The last two are from the Ozum, who said bye, and then Curtis Mitchell, who said thanks for all the content. I'm looking to buy my first gaming headset under $100. Anything you could recommend? I don't really pay attention to that market. I'm using a Sennheiser G, whatever it is, their gaming one. I like it a lot, but I don't know if it's under 100. I think they're like 150 when I bought it. Anyway, got a good mic on it though. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the super chats. I'm gonna look at chat for like a minute and then we'll sign off here. To recap the stream system, like the performance, we did 5.1 all core. We were kind of holding 1.38-ish, 1.4 LLC level 4. I didn't try to tune the voltage though. The 2070 Super is plus 140 megahertz and 1120 megahertz offset on the memory. And then the cache is 49. So there's your recap of that. Performance was good. We beat the expectations from Linus's challenge he set forth in the stream, and you should check out their stream if you want to see the battle where this was basically built. He technically shipped it built, but we fixed it. So check out LinusTechTips for that information. And like I said, through August 20th, we're doing a portion of the store revenue from the GN store, so store.gamersnexus.net, is going to Eden Reforestation Projects. We have worked a lot with them and with Cat Angel specifically. I've spoken with people at both, and I like what they do. So if you want to support them and us at the same time, if you want to buy one of our things anyway, now is the best time to do it. You can do it on store.gamersnexus.net, and if you want to give it to them directly, go for it. We'll do a match up to 1,500 total for the community. So that'll recap us there. And let's chat saying, talking about Der Bauer, which is always a scary thing. You never quite know what people are talking about when Der Bauer is involved. He does a lot of stuff. He's good to check out too, though, if you have other overclocking interests. Okay, that's going to be it. Thank you for watching. A lot of fun, and we'll see you all next time.